All right. Welcome for those who are watching and listening afterwards. This is the Christian Goth Fellowship Bible Study Week 6. We are reading Proverbs 6. So let's get started. Chapter 6. My son, if you have become surety for your neighbor, have given a pledge for a stranger, if you have been snared with the words of your mouth, have you have been caught with the words of your mouth, do this then, my son, and deliver yourself, since you have come into the hand of your neighbor. Go humble yourself and importune your neighbor. Man, these words are weird today. Go give no sleep to your eyes, nor slumber to your eyelids. Deliver yourself like a gazelle from the author's hand, from the hunter's hand, and like a bird from the hand of the fowler. Go to the ant, O sluggard, observe your ways and be wise, which, having no chief, officer, or ruler, perhaps prepares her food in the summer and gathers her provision in the harvest. How long will you lie down, O sluggard? When will you arise from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest. Your poverty will come in like a vagabond, and your need like an armed man. A worthless person, a wicked man, is the one who walks with a perverse mouth, who winks with his eyes, who signals with his feet, who points with his fingers, who with perversity in his heart continuously devises evil, who spreads strife. Therefore, his calamity will come suddenly. Instantly, he will be broken, and there will be no healing. There are 6 things which the Lord hates, 7 which are an abomination to him: haughty eyes and a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. All right. The words earlier kind of threw me off at first. I'm like, what the heck is this thing saying? Like, even all the times I've listened to this on my phone, like I knew what it was, but now trying to read it, I'm like, okay, this is throwing me off.
What translation are you using?
NASB. But it's like I don't know. I guess my words just were everywhere today.
Yeah.
But from what I'm kind of gathering is like, basically, if you get caught and you're kind of in a situation and you basically owe your neighbor, don't become proud or arrogant and refuse to go to your neighbor to kind of reconcile things, but humble yourself and go to your neighbor and basically try to, again, reconcile yourself rather than let things continue to increase in your heart, because like everyone knows that like if you start suspecting something against anyone, whether it's a friend or a literal neighbor or someone that you know, but you don't actually go to the person to talk to them, that will increase a dissension between you two. But the thing is that the neighbor there could be nothing going on with him, and all this stuff that's building in your heart could be for nothing. And so, you have this heavy weight on yourself for no reason. But it says go and talk to your neighbor to work things out, or there could literally be some dissension between the two on both sides. And it says to go talk to them, and that could be a very difficult thing, especially whenever you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to deal with the crap, and knowing full well that it could end up, being like the end of that relationship, end of a friendship. And if that happens, then okay, but at least you go there and that weight is lifted off of you. Give no sleep to your eyes, no slumber to your eyelids, meaning don't rest, don't wait and before you do it. Deliver yourself from like a gazelle from the hunter's hand. And for those who are listening, verse 5 is like a metaphor, like a bird from the hand of the fowler. Like the gazelle from the hunter's hand, the gazelle is as a prey, hunter is a predator. So basically, that weight that's coming onto you, those little thoughts are coming into your head. That's basically a hunter and is trying to draw you into that. We can't let that happen. But if we do, and it's just gonna turn out bad. Go to the anno sluggard to observe her ways and be wise, which having no chief officer or ruler prepares for food in the summer. Now it shifts, in my opinion, and it could also this could also go along with the previous, but this is saying that we can't be lazy regardless of what goes on, because if we are lazy, and I'm not talking about taking rest, because the Lord himself told us to take a Sabbath, because we are not meant to work 24/7. Our bodies will suffer because of that. But we got to take a rest, but we can't let that rest overcome us, because eventually, if we do, and whenever the time comes for us to eat, we're not gonna have anything. We're gonna be desolate. Where was it? Verse 11: your poverty will come in like a vagabond, and your need like an armed man. Again, metaphor. Poverty come in like a vagabond. Oh my gosh, I'm hungry, I'm starving, but I have nothing to eat because I didn't work. And need will come in like an armed man. Worthless man like a wicked man points his fingers. I think this goes along with can't think of the word at right now. Worthless man, wicked man is one who walks with a perverse mouth, one who winks with his eyes, signals with his feet. So basically, one who is being deceitful. Don't be. In other words, don't be deceitful. Therefore, his calamity will come suddenly. Instantly, he will be broken. So first, deceitful, and we don't repent, it's gonna flip back on us, and it's gonna be pretty bad. And what's interesting is that many times, whenever we are living life and we're not aware of what's going on and the things like the negative things we do, and all of a sudden we get hit by these negative things, and we think that, oh my gosh, the enemy's coming against you. No, what you reap what you sow. It's the other beliefs call it karma. It's the same difference. It's the same thing. You reap what you sow. Don't sow negativity, because you're going to reap it. That's why Jesus himself said, show love to everyone, because what you're sowing, you're sowing love, you're going to reap love. But then and this also kind of has to do with Father, I need that word, discernment. If we have discernment, we're going to know what we're reaping from what we sowed versus what the enemy is coming at us from. So that's we always got to watch out for that. That's again the discernment. Unfortunately, discernment is not very very popular, very common these days. Um, 6 things Lord hates. 7, which is an abomination, haughty eyes, a lying tongue. Again, just don't be deceitful. We cannot be deceitful these days, because it'll come back at us. Before Max begins, does anyone want to say anything? If you're unable to unmute yourself, just raise your hand, and I'll unmute you. Okay, hi Max, you're good to go then.
All right. There are 6 things the Lord hates. 7 are an abomination to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, heart that devises wicked plans, feet that hurry to run to evil, lying witness who testifies falsely, and one who sows discord in a family. My child, keep your father's commandment, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. Bind them upon your heart always, tie them around your neck. Where you walk, they will lead you. Where you lie down, they will watch over you. And when you awake, they will talk with you. For a commandment is a lamp, and a teaching a light. And the reproofs of discipline are the way of life, to preserve you from the wife of another, from the smooth tongue of the adulteress. Do not desire her beauty in your heart, and do not let her capture you with her eyelashes. For a prostitute's fee is only a loaf of bread, but the wife of another stalks a man's very life. Can fire be carried in the bosom without burning one's clothes? Or can one walk on hot coals without scorching the feet? So is he who sleeps with his neighbor's wife. No one who touches her will go unpunished. Thieves are not despised, who steal only to satisfy the appetite when they are hungry. Yet if they are caught, they will pay sevenfold. They will forfeit all the goods of their house. But he who commits adultery has no sense. He who does it destroys himself. He will get wounds and dishonor, and his disgrace will be wiped away. For jealousy arouses a husband's fury, and he shows no restraint when he takes revenge. He will accept no compensation and refuses a bribe of no matter how great. All right,
True.
that's it.
You got any comments or thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think based on this, the half that I put in, it seems that this is also I think the birthplace of the Christian idea of the seven deadly sins, which I think are referenced in the 6 things the Lord hates and the 7 abomination to him. And once you put the words together, they basically are terms that illustrate each of the things here. So, like, at least on how you decide to look at that. But I think that's in essence where those ideas come from, even if they aren't vividly stated that these are the 7 deadly sins or something like that. It's more that it's paraphrasing, Proverbs 6, basically talking about all the terrible consequences that come with, living in these ideas and how it actually becomes more damaging than anything else. So it's like what becomes like, a spur of the moment, satisfactory idea actually just becomes a toilsome path to basically inevitable destruction, at least to oneself, as it kind of describes here.
Didn't think about that. I like that perspective.
Yeah, and I think that's even what's like implying in the first half with the no double crossing or being double-minded in actions, being like purposely deceitful. And I think it's interesting because I think the word deceitful in the original languages can also imply somebody who actually doesn't know they're lying either. So it's like you can deceive somebody but not actually know it. And I guess that's kind of comes to the point where you would only know if you were really discerning in the information you're passing out. Like you can not know something's bad or not know something's wrong, but still think it's the right thing to do, but you're actually, spreading misinformation or lies and, or just wrong, information entirely. So it's just like, and I think that's one of those things, I guess, we don't really think about based on how we use words, but because it's like, a lot of times people could be doing something and they won't actually know it's wrong, won't understand why it's wrong, but in the long run, it actually can be. So, and likewise, whether or not somebody actually is deliberately deceiving people or just unknowingly deceiving people end up, being guilty of the same repercussions for that.
True. Anyone else want to put 2 cents in?
Can anyone hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Aristo here. Yeah, what I kind of find interesting is that I always believed like any human being can make a mistake and they just don't know it. That's actually totally normal as like a human being. But the thing that you really have to do is really take responsibility to to apologize to the person you offended and forgiveness and such. And yeah, I've noticed like a lot of people who like call themselves Christians, quote unquote Christians, don't really follow this advice very well. And that's how I always just kind of see life in general, not just as a Christian, but also just as life in general.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Because I feel like, I guess in the Christian context, somebody, as I was saying before, how somebody may not actually know that they're deceiving people, but actually think that what they're saying is the right thing and is actually a godly way to think things through. And then it turns out they're actually just, basically passing out complete BS, and people are buying it. This person sounds right standing, and it's just
Because
like,
if I'm really
yeah,
going to be on,
but
if I'm really going to be honest, it doesn't seem like they really want to help anyone. They just want to be right themselves.
yeah, and
Everyone
that's
else is wrong.
there's a lot of fundamental groups that they don't really care if their ideas are correct. They just want to feel correct, and if they feel correct, they feel right, and if they feel right, they feel righteous, which makes them feel right standing with God. So that kind of becomes this literal play on words there. So you feel like you're right, then you feel like you're righteous, which makes you feel like you're right standing with God, even though you can be completely wrong about your information, like saying God hates anybody. You see those lines.
Yeah, totally.
Like those
Yeah,
guys actually believe that they're doing God's will by having these hateful signs saying, even putting God's name in it, and it's like, it's using God's name in completely inappropriate things, which is again in the Ten Commandments, but one thing, but it's also just not true. Like God doesn't hate people. He loves them, no matter what they've been through or who they are, and all of that. Because it's like if he did hate them, he wouldn't have put his son on the cross for them.
True.
So
very true.
Yeah. And also being someone who's an artist myself and who has taken art classes through high school and college, I do my best to take criticism well, because I want to learn more about myself and more about others and how I can improve and such.
Yeah, that's, as somebody who graduated from art school, I know that whole life exactly, of having to, again, being presentable, but also like being able to take, common criticism from various perspectives and, backgrounds and all that is something you just need to be regularly aware of. And what I also often see is that people who always go around thinking that they're right, or they don't actually know they're wrong, as we said before, they don't like being corrected.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going up to like any of those guys who are like, again, like I guess we have this thing of picking on fundamentals because that's what people remember Christians for these days. But it's like, you see what they're doing and how it's wrong and off-putting, or passes out incorrect information either about God or about humanity or even about things like science or history. And it's just like you tell them they're wrong and you point out to them their errors. They're not gonna believe you, and they're just gonna continue to think they're right. One of the things becomes, self-pride and arrogance, which is again one of the things the Lord does not like here.
True.
That's why people should never stop learning.
Exactly. Be a lifelong learner and be open to changing your thoughts and ideas on things. Which is something I have to do in the long run. Like I've probably changed my ideas on the things I believe in so many times it's not even funny. I probably lost count.
It reminds me of one of the previous chapters that we've been through of being open to being reproved, because when the Father loves someone, he reproves them, he corrects them whenever they're wrong. So that goes along with not having that closed heart that's saying, I'm not doing anything wrong, but like, Father, am I doing something wrong? Correct me, please.
Yeah, now that you mention that, I think now that I think about it, when I was like in high school before I entered college, I guess I was always looking for approval from like my family, from my professors and such. And when I went to college and when I was graduating, I thought, you know what? I'm not going to look for anyone's approval. I'm just going to do whatever I want. Unless if it's something really dangerous that could hurt me and affect everyone else.
Like anything that's listed in the second half of this and how it just inevitably destroys you.
Yeah. So after I graduated college, I think to myself, I'm not going to look for anyone else's approval. I'm just gonna do what I want and see where it goes from here. Just kind of learning more about myself.
Yeah, it's totally understandable. I've probably said the same thing too, especially in that time and place. So
true. I'm gonna make a quick note here on, and the other than like what you said about the 7 deadly sins, I find it interesting how, and because I remember referencing this in the earlier chapters. I just couldn't remember what chapter it was. But in this one, it specifically is, regarding staying away from like from an evil woman or an adulterous woman, but also like what happens to the person if he does and gets with, when it says his neighbor's wife, it's his, it's his friend's wife, his brother's wife, that kind of along those lines, or even someone that you don't even know. And it speaks out both the punishment and what the person will deal with, and also what the woman will deal with. But it says, where was it? It was, but when he is found, basically, when the transact the not transaction, whatever I'm talking about, is found out, he must repay sevenfold. So basically, it's gonna hit him sevenfold. It's gonna be like it's gonna hurt, not just and just however the punishment is gonna hurt him 7 times. So it's just interesting. Like, don't do this, people. There's just another way of loving everyone, but don't betray the people that you love, or don't betray people that you know. So it's just interesting. Love his word. He always knows just what to do, or just what to say, so that we won't even go a specific route. All right. Anyone else want to say anything before you end the recording and we just fellowship? All right. Murray hopped in, so I will stop the recording. Hope y'all enjoyed it, and y'all can. I can't even think right now. Hope you enjoyed this week 6, and looking forward to having y'all for week 7